Well, welcome back. New details this morning. Florida's new Surgeon General has revamped the state's COVID-19 guidelines for schools. The biggest change involves quarantining. If a child is exposed to COVID, it will now be up to the parents, not the school district, to decide whether or not to keep the child home or send them back to class. But the rule change could have a big impact on teachers. And joining us live right now with reaction is Andrew Spar. He is president of the Florida Education Association. First of all, happy Friday, Andrew. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great, Amy. Thanks for having me.
So the governor came out and he said, look, 98% of the children who are sent home to quarantine never get COVID. And he is concerned that we're sending healthy kids home and they're not learning. How do teachers feel about it?
Well, teachers have been very frustrated this year because we believe there should be some protocols put in place to keep our students safe, to keep us safe. And when you have a governor that has basically taken all protocols away from public schools and only public schools, and in addition is refusing to release the more than $8 billion in federal stimulus money that was sent down to go to school districts to help with the mitigation of COVID, it just doesn't make sense. Look, every teacher wants to make sure that kids are in school. That's where they learn best, which is why we should be talking about making sure we have clean air through air purifiers or HEPA filters or some other improvements to the air conditioning systems. We should make sure that we have masks in place. We should make sure that we're contact tracing and that we're testing for COVID. And we should make sure that we have the materials and resources in place to make sure that the learning continues at the highest level as much as possible without disruption.
Well, sure, because the goal, right, obviously, is to try to keep these kids in school and keep them learning. That's the best thing for the kids. I was just reading this fascinating article in the New York Times talking about how the Brits do things differently. And we heard the governor mention, well, Europe does it differently. In Britain, they don't believe in masking young children. They say it's very important for social development and interaction to be able to see the faces of the children. They do things differently there, and the results don't seem to be worse. How do we know what the right thing to do is?
Well, here's what we know about Florida. Florida just went through one of the worst spikes, in fact, the worst spike we've seen since the onset of COVID. And we saw it in our schools. Nearly double the number of kids who passed away all of last school year passed away in just the first month of school this year. Nearly double the number of educators who passed away last year passed away in the first month of school this year. We've seen nearly double the number of COVID cases in our schools in the first month this year than we saw all of last school year. Those are startling numbers. And it says we need to do more to make sure that in this public health emergency, which requires a public community response, we should be working together. I believe in listening to the medical experts. I think it's important that experts drive the conversation. And there is a pretty strong consensus in the medical community that there are certain things we should do to keep kids safe. And I'm just very concerned when the governor is making decisions which seem to be more political motivated than science-based, that's what we're seeing happen to our public schools. And again, I want to point out, this only applies to public schools. No other schools are required to follow the same rules that public schools are. And that's very concerning to me.
Andrew, what are you telling teachers who are coming to you with their concerns?
Well, we're telling teachers that they should take all precautions they can take in their classroom and that they have the ability to take. But what I'm very concerned about, of course, is teachers who are saying this just isn't safe anymore and I'm not going to stay. We had over 5,000 teacher vacancies at the start of this school year, over 4,000 vacancies among our support staff, including bus drivers and custodians, all people who are vital to making sure that our kids are safe at school. And keep in mind, our school districts really feel like their hands are tied at this point, yet they have a constitutional obligation under the Florida Constitution to make sure that every child gets a world-class education, regardless of race, background, or zip code, and that we do it in the safest possible way. The governor's steps continue to take away those tools from school districts.
All right, Andrew Spar, we always appreciate you having you on Good Day Orlando. Thank you so much.